Hi everyone, myself Rohit. Welcome to my YouTube channel Field of Science. Today we are learning about Physics Class 11 chapter Motion in a Straight Line. We may expect 1 to 2 questions from this chapter in NEET. Yes, let's we start the chapter without wasting any time. Without starting this chapter, motion in a straight line, we have to know two basic things about motion in a straight line, that are distance and displacement. What is distance and what is displacement? Distance means total length covered by the object, and the displacement means short distance between final and the initial point. Yes, we can explain this from giving an example. See from this diagram, what is distance? Total length covered means A to B and B to C. The object moves from A to B and B to C. Then this length is known as distance. And what is displacement? The shortest distance between final and initial point. The shortest distance between final and the initial point. This length is known as displacement. For complete circle, distance is equal to 2 pi r, and then displacement is equal to 0 because initial and the final point will be same. Then we come to 2 points on the circle. Then we may say that distance is equal to arc length, means A to B. The distance is equal to A to B. Then the arc length, this arc length is known as the distance. Then arc length formula is r theta, means radius into angle between the 2 points is known as arc length, and the arc length is equal to the distance. Then how to find displacement? Displacement means through trigonometric equation, this AO will become r sin theta by 2. Then AO and OB equal to same, and then is equal to r sin theta by 2. So AO is r sin theta by 2 and OB is r sin theta by 2. So the displacement between A and B is 2r sin theta by 2. This is how we will find the displacement of the 2 points in a circle. Then you have to note here that displacement always less than or equal to distance. Here distance never be less than displacement. Displacement always be lesser than or equal to distance. It will be never greater. Let's come to speed. What is speed? Speed is the ratio of distance covered by time taken. The speed can be calculated by the formula distance by time taken is equal to d by t. The velocity is equal to, what is velocity? Velocity means the ratio of displacement to the time taken, means s by t. And then what is uniform speed? Uniform speed means the particle covering equal distance in equal interval of time. You should cover equal distance in equal interval of time. Then that speed is said to be uniform speed. Then come to average speed. What is average speed? Average speed means ratio of total distance to the total time taken. Means if the distance covered by the object is s1 and s2 and so on sn, then if by taking the time t1 t2 and so on tn, then we can calculate as average speed by the formula s1 plus s2 plus so on sn divided by t1 plus t2 plus so on tn. We can solve one application from this formula, then we can understand all. If body travels first half of time with v1 and second half of time with v2, means if the body travels first half means t1 equals t by 2 with v1 speed, and second half means t2 is equal to t by 2 with v2 speed, then average speed is equal to s1 plus s2 by t1 plus t2, means displacement will be calculated by the formula velocity into time taken. Then velocity v1 into t by 2 means first half time plus v2 into second half time t by 2 whole divided by total time taken t by 2. T by 2 plus t by 2. On solving this, we will get the answer as average speed is equal to v1 plus v2 by 2. This is how we can solve the applications of average speed. There are some more applications we can solve by understanding this concept. Then we come to instantaneous speed. What is instantaneous speed? Speed at a particular instant means speed at a particular time. Speed at a particular time or instant is known as instantaneous speed. Means we have to apply limit. It has limit. This speed has limit. Means limit dt tends to 0. ds by dt is equal to v instant. Then we move on to velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is equal to displacement by time taken. We can calculate velocity by calculating this formula. V is equal to displacement by time taken. And then what is uniform velocity? The body covering equal displacement in equal interval of time. Then this velocity is known as uniform velocity. What is uniform velocity? Uniform velocity means the body covering equal displacement in equal interval of time. Equal interval of time, the body covering equal displacement by taking only equal interval of time. Then it is said to be uniform velocity. And then what is average velocity? As same as average speed, it can be calculated as total displacement by total time taken. Then we move on to acceleration. What is acceleration? Rate of change of velocity is known as acceleration. Acceleration can be calculated by the formula a equals dv by dt. On differentiating the velocity, we can get the acceleration. Acceleration, the unit of acceleration is meter per second square. And then the unit of velocity is meter per second. On differentiating these formula, we can get meter per second square. That is the unit of acceleration. If body moves with uniform velocity, then acceleration is 0. Yes. If body moves with uniform velocity, means it covers equal displacement in equal interval time, then its acceleration must be 0. Then and negative acceleration called retardation. Negative acceleration means, for example, a car. We can slow down the acceleration. Then this acceleration can make the body move slowly. This is known as retardation. Negative acceleration is called as retardation. Then we move on to equation of motion. It is also known as kinematical formulas. It is a very important concept of motion in a straight line. The majority problems are asked by these formulas. We can derive major problems by using these formulas. So these formulas are very important and just you have to remember it. What is the first formula is v equals to u plus at, means final velocity equals initial velocity plus acceleration into time taken. The next formula, displacement is equal to ut plus half at square, means displacement is equal to initial velocity into time taken plus half into acceleration into time square. Then come to next formula, v square minus u square is equal to 2as, means initial velocity square, final velocity square minus initial velocity square is equal to 2 into acceleration into displacement. Then move on to next formula. Majority problems are asked by this formula, just we have to learn it. Displacement at nth displacement is equal to u plus a into n minus 1 by 2. By using these all formulas, we can find out answers for all questions from the motion in a straight line. And these formulas are very helpful in whole physics chapter of class 11. The first formula is used to find out the velocity, and the second formula is used to find out the displacement, and the third formula is used to find out the acceleration, displacement or velocity, and the fourth problem is you have to find the displacement at nth second. Okay. Then we move on to vertical motion. What is vertical motion? The body moving in a straight line from upper to down. From upper to down is known as vertical motion, or moving downward to upward is also known as vertical motion. Then we move on to freely falling body. What is freely falling body? The body lived from a top of a tower. Then it is known as freely falling body. What happens when body is freely falling? Its initial velocity is zero because the body is at at top. The body is stable, so that initial velocity is zero. On moving downwards, on reaching the ground, the velocity, final velocity becomes v because it is accelerated. What is acceleration? Acceleration is equal to plus g. Positive means it is towards the gravitation, so it is positive. If it was opposite to the gravitation, then it is negative. But it is towards the gravitation force, so that acceleration is plus g and displacement is equal to h. By using formula, what formula? Kinematical formulas. We can derive the formulas for freeing body. By using these all values, we can find out the formulas. Apply these values to kinematical formulas. For first formula, V equals to U plus AT. V equals, what is U? 0. So V equals to G into T. Then for second formula, S equals UT plus half GT square. Then apply, what is U? 0. So this whole term becomes 0. Then H equals half GT square. This is also written as T equals root 2Hg by G. Then we move on to third formula, V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. On applying, what is U? U is 0. Then V is equal to root of 2GH. Then move on to next formula, Sn equals to U plus A into n minus 1 by 2. Then U is 0. So Hn equals G into n minus 1 by 2. G means acceleration. Let's move on to vertical projected body. Let's consider the body is thrown from downwards to upward. Means at downward, initial velocity is u. Means we throwed it. So that there is velocity is known as initial velocity u. And the final velocity at the highest point, the final velocity becomes 0. See, v equals 0. And the acceleration is minus g. Minus is due to the body is moving opposite to the gravitational field, opposite to the gravitational force. So it is taken as negative minus g. S equals h, as you know. By applying these values to these all kinematical formulas, then we can get time as u by g and height as u square by 2g. This is also known as maximum height, and the hn is equal to u minus g into n minus 1 by 2. This t equals to u by g is also known as time of ascent as well as time of descent. On doing sum of time of ascent and time of descent, we can get time of flight. Means what is time of flight? Time of flight means going upward as well as coming downward is known as time of flight. Going upward is known as time of ascent, and the going downward is known as time of descent. Time of flight is equal to time of ascent plus time of descent is equal to 2u by g. Then we remember node point. This is very important point. Velocity of body when it reaches the ground. What it says means velocity of the body when it reaches the ground. Then what happens? It moves upward at the top with speed u. But when it comes downward, it becomes negative of the initial velocity. Means v equals minus u. Here it will move with a velocity u and come back with a velocity minus u. Then we move on to body projected from top of tower. Top of tower. This is tower, and the body is projected from here. It reaches the ground here, and the height of a tower is denoted as h, and the distance from here to here is known as x, and the distance from here to here is known as minus x because it is in opposite direction. and distance from here to here, it is known as minus h because it is in opposite direction, it is falling downwards. On using these values, applying these values to kinematical formulas, we can get the formulas as like this: h equals half gt square minus ut, and t equals u plus or minus root of u square plus 2gh by g. Very important and easy concept of motion in a straight line is graphs. Next we move on to xt graphs, displacement time graph. In the first graph is particle is at rest and having initial displacement. Means particle is at rest but it has initial displacement as x naught. See from this graph, this is displacement and this is time. Then see here, the body is at rest. The body is at rest. It does not have any displacement, but it has initial displacement x naught, but the time is going on. So this graph comes as parallel to x-axis, straight line parallel to x-axis. The equation can be said as x equals x naught. Then we move on to second graph, the particle moving with uniform velocity. Means it covering equal distance through equal time taken. Means it covering equal displacement by covering equal time taken. Means see here, the body is covering equal distance with time taken in equal. See here, so that the graph will be straight line from through origin. So x equals vt is the equation. Then we move on to third graph, moving with acceleration. The particle is moving with acceleration. See here, if we take an example of car, if we accelerate the car, then car moves more fast, means covers the more distance through less time taken. See here, the distance is more but the time taken is less. See here, the distance taken is more but the time taken is less. The body is moving more distance but covering less time, so the graph will be hyperbolic. The equation can be said as x equals ut plus half at square. The equations are not asked in exams, but we have to remember it. The fourth point is the body moving with deceleration, means deacceleration, means retardation. The body is retarding. The body is retarding means, take an example of car. If we slow down the acceleration, the body covers less distance. Less distance in more time taken. See here, it is covering less distance. See here, less distance, but taking more time. See here, more time. This is known as deacceleration. The graph will be this like. Then the equation said as x equals ut minus half at square. Then we move to fourth graph, vertically projected body. Means vertically projected body. See, for example, you throw a ball towards your friend who is sitting another side of the ground. Then how is the ball traveling? The shape will be this like, travel in this direction. See, you can calculate here, it will travel the distance from here to here, but it come back like this, so that the graph will be like parabolic. This is h, maximum height the ball reached. Then the equation can be said as x equals ut minus half gt square. Let's see, move on to vt graph. In vt graph, the first graph is particle is at rest. See here, particle is at rest, means the time is going on, but the particle is at rest, means there is no velocity. See here, the velocity is 0, but the time is moving on, and the graph will be straight line parallel to x-axis. Then the equation will be v equals u. Then we move on to second graph, moving with uniform velocity. See here, it is covering equal distance in equal time taken. So it is covering equal distance, so it will be straight line through origin. Okay, the graph will be straight line through origin. The equation will be v equals at. Third graph, moving with uniform velocity and having initial velocity. Here it is same as the previous graph. See, here extra is only initial velocity. It has only initial velocity, so that v equals to u plus at. Then we move into fourth graph, moving with a deceleration. See here, on going on time, if you deaccelerate the machine, means you slow down the acceleration, then its velocity decreases and the time moves on going, but the velocity decreases. So velocity decreases. So the graph would be like this. The equation would be v equals u minus at. Is negative slope, because negative minus is due to acceleration is opposite to the gravitation, so that minus. Then we move on to fifth graph, vertically projected body. If we throw a ball vertically projected, then its velocity always decreases. So here velocity always decreases, but the time moves on going. We can express equation as v equals u minus gt. Then we move on to AT graphs. First graph is body moves with uniform acceleration, means acceleration equals 0. See here, acceleration equals 0, but time taken is going on like that. The graph would be like this, straight line parallel to x-axis. Move on to second graph. Body moves with variable acceleration, means see here, acceleration is varying. See here, one time up, one time down, one time up, one time down. See, acceleration is varying. This graph is known as variable acceleration. Let's move on to some note point, which is very important in this chapter. The questions are also asked from this point. Note points. The first point is slope of xt curve gives velocity. Means slope of xt curve means x by t is equal to velocity. It gives velocity. X by t always gives velocity. This says that slope of xt curve gives velocity. Next, second point, slope of vt curve gives acceleration. Means v by t equals acceleration. Slope of vt curve gives acceleration, says. Then third point, area under vt curve gives displacement. See from this graph, see here, this is v, this is t. This triangle area will give the displacement, means velocity. Area under velocity time graph gives displacement. Let's move on to fourth point. Area under AT curve gives velocity. Means if in case of v, here a is there, acceleration is there, then AT, this area will give the velocity. Area under AT curve gives velocity. So I hope you have understand this chapter. Thank you for watching. If you want my short notes, please subscribe and just follow and message me on Instagram filmistar77789 and Facebook Rohitar. We will help you there. You can send a message to ask the notes there. Please subscribe don't forget to subscribe the channel.